Hello, good morning, students. Uh, Welcome in today's session regarding one topic for class 8, that is data handling. So, first of all, we will see the introductory part of the topic, that is what is data handling, why such name is given, because here we will make our concentration regarding study of a data, its collection, its classification, graphical representation, drawing conclusion, etc. So since we will handle here data, to handle means to make study about data, so such name is given data handling. When you will go in the next class, the same topic you will make again under your study, but in different name, that is called statistics, because statistics is that branch of maths where we study about data and its collection, classification, graphical representation, etc. So today we will see what things we will make study here. So first of all, we just recapitulate the knowledge what you have gained in your earlier classes regarding data. That is, data is the collection of informations. While it has different types, but here, as per our syllabus, we will focus here. So data is collection of information. For example, when we write the marks of 5 students obtained in a test, as here it is given in example that marks obtained by 5 students in a test are 12, 25, 37, 29 and 40. So it is called data of marks. Similarly, if we write temperature of 4 metros for a day, which is in degrees Celsius, are 36, 38, 37.5 and 39 degrees Celsius, then it will be called data of temperature, and so on. So we may have different examples from our surroundings. You may measure the height, as during your health checkup heights are measured. So when a game teacher of our school records the height of children, then he is collecting a data of height. Similarly, other examples are, you can take from your day-to-day life situations. So now we will discuss in brief the types of data. It is of two types. One is raw data. When we collect informations simply and list them, then it is called raw data. And when we classify this raw data into smaller groups containing a fixed size, and each group is with its frequency, then it is called grouped data. Similarly, another type of data is primary data and secondary data. This classification is based on the surveyor and user. If any data is collected by a person, which is called investigator or surveyor, and he is using the same data, then responsibility goes to the investigator. Such data is called primary data, whereas secondary data is that data which is collected by anyone and used by other one. That is, investigator or surveyor is one and user is another one. Then for user there is no responsibility, so such data is called secondary data. So these are the classification of data. Now we will see another thing, that what is grouped data. Actually, when a raw data is collected, then it is classified into certain smaller groups with a fixed size, and each group is with a number of persons. If the data is related to the person, that means each group is associated with certain numbers for which the data is collected. Then it is called grouped data. It is also called frequency distribution table, because in frequency distribution table there are mainly two columns. One is group and another is number of things for which the data is collected, which is called frequency. And to make this grouping, we take the help of a symbol which is called tally mark, and you all are well aware that tally mark is the way of method of counting the score or value of a data, and it is marked by vertical line, and for one value it is one vertical line, for two it is two vertical line, and for three vertical lines, for four vertical lines, and for fifth it is cut by a diagonal line. That is, a bunch of 5 things is symbolized by this symbol, but just drawing 4 vertical lines cut by a diagonal line. So this is one way of putting the symbol for scores or for values given in the data. Such data is called a group data or frequency distribution table, or simply frequency table. Next is what is the range of data? Range of data is the difference of its highest value and lowest value, which gives the information that the spreading area of a data, from which value it starts and ends at which value. So this idea we will get for a data just finding by range of data. So we can formalize it. Range of data is equal to highest score minus lowest score, or highest value minus lowest value, HV minus LV. Now we are using the term frequency. What is frequency? Frequency is the number of times, how many times a value comes in a data. That is called its frequency, and it is symbolized by f, small f. Okay, now we will see some graphical representation, because as per our curriculum we have to proceed for the lesson. So keeping the curriculum for class 8, I am just I am sharing my ideas with you, because the same topic is given class 6 onwards and goes to higher classes, even 11, 12 in college education also. This topic goes under the name of statistics in mathematics. So now come to graphical representation of a data. What are the different types of graphical representations for a given data? Some of these you have already done in your earlier classes, like pictograph. It is given in class 6, you have drawn. Similarly, in class 6 there is given bar graph, how to draw bar graph for the given data. So here our concentration will be more towards some new representation for you, like histogram, pie chart, in addition to bar graph, pictograph, etc. So you know what is pictograph? When we show the information through a picture, keeping in mind that one picture stands for how many unit, which is called scale. So representing informations through picture is called pictograph. Similarly, another is bar graph. When we show the informations through rectangular stripe or rectangular rod, keeping a proper gap between two consecutive rods, then such information to represent in this way is called bar graph. So we can say that showing informations by rectangular stripes or rods with a proper gap between two consecutive rods is called bar graph. Here it is shown just by drawing a bar graph showing the marks obtained by 4 different students, A, B, C and D. So here 4 rectangular stripes are drawn with a proper gap between them, showing that the marks obtained by 4 students in a test. So this representation is called bar graph. Now we proceed for another type of graphical representation, which is called histogram. Histogram is also the representation to show the informations through rectangular stripes, rectangular rods, but having no gap between two consecutive rods. So this is the basic difference between bar graph and histogram. So in histogram there is no gap between the rods, between the rectangular stripes shown for informations of each, while in bar graph the information is shown by rectangular stripes, but between two stripes, each two stripes, there is a fixed gap. And in drawing any type of graph like bar graph, pictograph, histogram, we used to mention its scale at the top right corner of the graph paper, and these things are quite natural, should be drawn on a graph paper, because in graph paper there is a uniform distribution, while on plain paper if we draw, then the proper distribution may not be done. So this is the basic difference, and we write it's a scale that 1 unit of graph paper, which is the one bigger division which contains 10 small divisions, that is called 1 unit, and what value we put for this 1 unit, that is our scale. So we used to write at the right corner of the graph piece one symbol like Z in English alphabet, that is called king. It is also used as per need, either on x-axis or on y-axis or on both if needed. This king symbol, which is actually English Z alphabet like, is used to compress the long data in one division. If we give this symbol, then it indicates that a long portion of data has been compressed by this symbol, and then we will start from the concerned value of the data. So the use of king is this. So again we come to the topic that showing information through rectangular stripes without giving any gap, such representation is called histogram. And one thing here to be made clear, that for which type of data we draw bar graph and for which type of data we draw histogram. So students, pay attention. When we see the given data, the informations given in that data is independent one information with other, then for such data we draw bar graph, because bar graph represents individual information through a rectangular stripe, and one information is having no link with other, like marks obtained by four students A, B, C and D. So all the four students have scored different marks. So they will be shown by different stripes, one for A, another for B and so on. While histogram is drawn for such a data where each information is linked with other. For example, if we have a grouped data containing marks into smaller groups like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and each smaller group is having certain number of students, then here what you see, all the students' marks are linked continuously, that 0 to 10 marks obtainer are 5, while 10 to 20 there are 3 students. So in this way we see that one rod is drawn for 0 to 10 groups, then another rod starts from the same line 10 to 20, that is the vertical line for 10th is common in both the groups. So here naturally there will no gap between two informations. So such information is shown by histogram. Another one is pie chart. Pie chart is the way to represent the information through different parts of a circle. We may say different sectors of a circle. Then this representation is called pie chart. That is, when we represent the various information by dividing a circle into different sectors, then this representation is called pie chart. And this division of circle, that is parts of circle or sectors of circle, is made on the basis of sector angle or central angle of each event of that information. For example, here you see one pie chart is shown showing information of each by different parts or sectors in a circle on the basis of their sector angle or central angle. Now the question is, suppose one information is given, then what we will do? We will find the central angle or sector angle for each information using the concept own value by total value into 360 degree. For example, if we want to calculate central angle for information A, then it will be calculated by using own value of A divided by total value of the data into 360 degree. So it will come in degree because it is central angle, that is the angle at the center. And if it comes suppose 110 degree, then just after drawing a circle we will take 110 degree, then we will take another central angle for component B, then for component C. So first we will calculate the central angle for each component of the given data, for each information of the data, by using the formula own value divided by total value into 360, and then on the basis of these central angles we divide a circle into different parts, and we just show the presentation of informations of that data in a circle. So such representation is called pie chart or circle diagram or circle chart. Now the last but not the least, as per our curriculum, there is a given slight introduction about probability. So we just focus now what is probability. Probability is actually the chance of getting something. To calculate the chance of getting randomly something. Suppose if we toss a coin, then the two results may be there. Either we have a head or we have a tail. So now we want to calculate the possibility, the probability that if we toss a coin randomly, then what will be the probability of getting a head? What will be the probability of getting a tail? So related to this probability, there are a few terms we just see. These terms are outcomes. So what is outcomes? When we do some activity, when we perform any activity, then what possible results may be there? If we list all the possible results, then these results are called outcomes. For example, tossing a coin, the possible outcomes are head and tail. There may be one position that coin falls and stands on its ring. So sir, it is neither head nor tail. So such situation we are not considering. We just neglect this situation. We are taking the clear outcomes, the clear result. So there are maximum two possible results. Either we will get head or we will get tail. Similarly, another example is if we throw a Ludo die, then what are the possible outcomes? So if we list all these possible outcomes, then it is called total outcomes or sample space. Although In sample space, we list all the possible outcomes by putting commas between them inside a curly bracket. So here we are taking simply the outcomes. Outcomes means all possible outcomes, that is total outcomes. So in throwing a Ludo die, what are the different possible outcomes? These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So only the possible outcomes are from number 1 to number 6. There is no outcomes possible for getting digit 0 or getting a digit 7 in throwing a single Ludo die, because there is no 7, there is no 0 on any face of the die. So throwing a Ludo die and getting a digit 0 or 7 is impossible, not possible. So such event is called impossible event also. So what are the different possible events? From 1 to digit 6. Now another term is favorable outcomes. So what are the favorable outcomes? If we list those outcomes out of these total, what we have discussed just now, out of these total, if we list only those outcomes which is in favor, for which we are calculating the chance of getting, then it is called favorable outcomes. Suppose we throw a Ludo die and we want to calculate the possibility or probability of getting odd numbers. Then out of these 6 possible outcomes, the odd numbers are odd prime, odd prime. So out of these 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, the odd primes are only 3 and 5. So the favorable outcomes for odd prime is 3 and 5. While if we want to know the chance of getting an even prime, then favorable outcomes for even prime will be only 2, because there is only one prime number which is even, and that is 2. For composite, the favorable outcomes will be 4 and 6, because these two are composite. So favorable outcomes means listing the outcomes in favor of certain event. Now to get the probability, to get the chance, to calculate the possibility of getting anything, we can calculate it by using the formula probability of an event is equal to number of favorable events divided by total number of events. Number of favorable event means we will only count the favorable events, and favorable events, total events, we already have discussed. So number of favorable event means we will count the favorable events. Similarly, total number of event means we will count the number of total outcomes. Now here one question is solved. Find the probability of getting prime number first, second second one is just a minute. So here one question is find probability of getting prime number A, B composite number, C odd prime number, D even prime number in throwing a Ludo die. So question is clear that we are throwing a Ludo die and we want to know, we are throwing a Ludo die randomly and we want to know what will be the chance of getting a prime number. Then we will answer in this way that P, and we will write in suffix the prime number. That indicates that we are calculating the probability for prime number. Then it is equal to number of favorable outcomes. Favorable outcomes are 2, 3 and 5, which is 1, 2, 3. That is number of favorable is 3 and total number of outcomes are 6. So by cancelling this it will come 1 by 2, that is half. In percentage if we calculate, then multiplying by 100 it is 50%. So there is 50% chance of getting a prime number when we throw randomly a Ludo die. Second, P composite number, that is probability of getting composite number, since there are only two composite, 4 and 6. So its number is 2. So it is 2 by 6. So it is now 1 by 3 on simplest form. Similarly, probability for odd prime, since odd primes there are only 2, 3 and 5. So again the probability is number of favorable events by total events, that is 2 by 6, which is ultimately 1 by 3 in lowest form. And D, P even primes, as we have discussed that there is only one even prime, so number of favorable is 1 divided by total number, that is 1 by 6. So here, as per our curriculum, we have make a concrete concept we have made here. We have discussed here the concept related to data handling, and hope that we will able to solve the questions, and we do hope that if you go through exercise, you are fully able to solve each and every questions. And I also expect that what you have failed, what is your feelings. If you feel that this video is very useful for your study, then you must like it, share it with your friends and subscribe it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay.